Okay, we're gonna start with the questions that we have gathered. First question is, how does the book differ from other sex education books?
Well, Respektiä is a book about sex, and it tells sex and love as it is. I think that in many books about these topics, when the authors try to talk about it, they are just walking around the bush, just walking around the hot topic, but they don't want to talk about like the real things. So I wanted to do a book that is real, and where you, as a teenager, where you can recognize yourself and recognize the situations you are in, and maybe also try to find some kind of solutions or help in how to navigate those situations.
Okay.
Okay, second question. Should our parents be protective about reading the book, or should they not?
Definitely not. So many teenagers they start watching pornography before they even are get into puberty. So I would say like around 11 years old, many people have their first interactions with pornography, and so we start a building up an image about what sex is, and this image of sex, it's not true. It's an image very far from what sex actually is, and it doesn't really teach you to be a caring and loving partner. It doesn't even teach you how to do good sex. Actually, I would say if you do sex as they do in pornography, probably it won't be so good, at least not for the female partner. So people start getting really explicit images of sex around the age of 11 years old, and I think that we must go to people when they are young to talk about these topics to establish a better and more realistic view on sex.
All right. On what is the information in the book based on?
Well, I have studied a field that is called andrology, and nobody knows what andrology is, so if you don't recognize it, that's okay. Many people do know what gynecology is. So gynecology is the field, the academic field of female sexuality. So I have studied the academic field of male sexuality, that is andrology. But this book, even though it's very much based on science, it is mostly based on the true stories of teenagers that I have met and interviewed. So when you read this book, you will find so many teenagers, both boys and girls, that speak openly about being horny, about masturbation, about porn, about good sex, good love, bad love, and I wanted to base it on real people because I wanted teenagers to read the book and say, "Wow, this book is about me."
Okay, fourth question. How did you have the courage to write this book?
I meet lots of teenagers. So I live in Sweden, and in Sweden I work as a sex educator. So what I do is that I travel around the whole country, meeting teenagers and educating them and answering to their questions about love and sex. And I've done this for over 10 years, so I've gotten quite used to doing it. And I feel that the teenagers I meet, I know that the things I do, I know that it helps them. I know that because I can see it on them. I can see the relief in their eyes or in their body language after they have spoken with me. It gives me very much gratification, and that gratification is what keeps me doing this work.
All right. Why does the book use more like slangy terminology?
Because I want it to be real, you know. I want it to be just as life is, and in teenage life, you know, people don't speak like old people, so I just wanted it to be felt that way.
Does the target of the audience really need to read the book?
Well, that's they decide, you know, if they want to read the book or not. I can just say that if you want advice about how to approach other people and about how to make a connection, it can be a mental connection, but also a physical connection, and build a good sex life. If you want that kind of advice, this book is good for you. But you know, not everybody wants a relationship. Not everybody is interested in love and sex and so on. So if you want to do something else with your life, that's also fine.
The book has some exercises in it, and we wanted to know why is there exercises and what do you think is the most important one in the book?
Okay, so the book is full of exercises because it's not a theoretical book. It's a practical book. So it's a book that is supposed to be useful in your private life and help you build a better private life. I would say, like, the most basic and maybe also the most important thing, the most important exercise would be, I think I have an exercise that it's a bit about that you have to sit down and think about your sexual fantasies. Like, really think about what do you want of sex and write it down. And after you have writing this down, the next step is to see what do you find in the porn you watch. Because most teenagers, they want some kinds of sex, but at the same time they consume pornography that is very different. And they consume it, you know why? Because it's available, because it's easy to find it. But I think that there are better ways to find stimulation and a way out for sexuality than pushing yourself into something that isn't quite exactly what you want.
So what if there are many exercises in it, what do you think is the most important one?
Yeah, it's this one that I just talked about. Writing down what are your sexual preferences or fantasies, and then comparing it to pornography. Because you want to see the difference between your sexuality and the sexuality that internet is projecting into you. Because the internet producers, the porn producers, they want you to have these fantasies, but are they really yours? So that's, maybe it is, but maybe not. So that's one exercise.
I just noticed that there's an anime called Yuri on Ice mentioned in this book. Why did you take as an example when there's a lot of other yaoi/gay anime?
Okay, so this is from a part of the book where I speak about, like, if you are a guy and you're interested in another guy, then you have to somehow make that clear to this person, because, you know, like, it's I would say 9 out of 10 boys will be interested only in girls, and so statistically that's more common, and people will expect that. So you have to show it in a way, and I say that the easiest way to do that is to give clues. Give clues about like gay culture that not anybody would know about. So I took this example, Jury on Ice. It's an anime. I think it was in
2016.
2016. It was a big online hit, so it was really it was everywhere on social media during that time. So probably a gay teenager would maybe have noticed that this TV series was going somewhere. And so if you are a gay teenager and you want to, maybe you don't want to come out, you don't want to say, hello, I'm gay, I'm proud, and so on. You just want to check if this person could maybe also be gay or bisexual. Then you can give those kind of clues. And if they react like, oh yeah, I know this thing, then, well, maybe they have that kind of interest because maybe they have been looking it up. On the other side, if they don't really understand what you're talking about and you give them like several clues and they just don't understand anything about it, then maybe they're not gay or they have not realized they're gay yet because they haven't been surfing around and trying to find sources about it.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so we also gathered some questions from students, and there were some few good questions that we have gathered here. So, okay, first one is, why are there no pictures in the book?
Because I do not want it to be too much like a school book. And the school books, everybody knows how they are. You know, it's the bodies, it's like somebody has sliced them in the middle and then you see from inside. And it's not sexy. And I think that school books in general are not sexy. And I wanted this book to have some kind of, mature feeling to it. So, no pictures.
Okay.
How did you choose the name of the book?
In any encounter between two people, if you want that encounter to be meaningful, you have to respect the other person. So you and I, we've just met, and I do not in any way treat you badly. In no way do I have like preconceptions about who you are. I accept you as you are, and from this point we can build a meaningful meeting. Maybe we could be friends. Maybe we could send like emails to each other and talk to each other about the TV series that we like from internet. And it's only because I showed you respect and you showed me respect back. That is the basic foundation of any relationship, also the foundation of friendship, also the foundation of love relationships, and also the foundation of quality sexual relationships. And I speak in this book about how you make respect, because we live in a very disrespectful society. We live in a society that for thousands of years has disrespected women, and that is a fact. And it has been the laws have been disrespecting women, the economy have been disrespecting women, and men have been disrespecting women. And so I don't think that teenage boys today should pick up that tradition. I think that should stop. It should stop now. And so I want to teach guys also that how to do respect in order to make better relationships.
Yeah, thanks.
Why do boys want to have sex all the time?
Because they are horny, and because sex feels so good. Sex, it's you get close to somebody. There you can feel their body, you can feel their skin, you can feel their scent, you can hear their breathing. There is so much depth in that connection. You get closer to a person that maybe you've never been so close before, and it also it's a bit scary because you get to expose yourself. You get to expose it's not only you expose your naked body. It's also that you expose what is the secret inner part of your fantasies. What is it that you want out of sex? That is something very private to share to another person. And it can feel so good to have this honest meeting with another person. And I think that girls also want sex, but they don't say it as openly because in this society we tend to treat women badly because of their sexuality. So I think that we have an image in our society that boys want sex and girls do not. I would say that is not true. I've been interviewing girls for this book also, asking girls about their sexuality, asking them about masturbation and what they want from sex. And what I've seen is that girls do want sex, but I would say that it takes the right person, and I would say that if people treated each other more nicely, maybe we could have a more loving society.
Okay, last question. Do you support LGBT?
If I support the LGBT community and LGBT rights, of course I do. I think that we have in our society a very strange misconception about love and sex. This idea that sex should be only about men and women meeting each other, when actually sexuality is a human thing. It's not a male thing. It's not a women thing. It's a human thing, and I think that the quality things of sex, you can find them in a partner no matter their gender, and at the same time I would say the bad things of sex, you could also find them in a partner regardless of their gender. So the important thing is not what gender do they have, but how do they treat you? Do they treat you good? Do they treat you with respect? Do they take responsibility of their actions? Do they take responsibility of safer sex? And so on. Those are the important things to measure if a relationship is good or bad. Then if you are straight or gay or whatever, it doesn't really matter.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, I think we have some time for audience questions if you have any. I think I have one that I would like to ask. What are the most common questions you get in a situation like this when meeting teenagers?
Teenage boys have many questions about their bodies. They have, especially it's about their penis. Many teenage boys have many insecurities, and also it's all about sex organs. They are very unique. It's like fingerprints. I think I write that in the book. It's like a fingerprint. Nobody has exactly the same fingerprint. Well, that's the same thing with the penis. No other guy will have exactly the same penis as you. So what teenage boys do is that they compare each other when they see each other in the showers, and they say, "Oh my God, there is something wrong with me." And so that I would say that is the most common question from boys. Then from girls, it's not so much questions. It's more that girls really like what I do, and they usually ask why I do it, and they give me like support. They say that, "Oh, you should come back to school again," and they're more like cheering me on.
Okay.
Thank you for the audience.
Thank you so much. Tack så mycket.